What's going on, my good people? Mike Hidalgo here. Thank you for joining us on another FCP Euro DIY. Today we're going to be working on a 2008 W211 E63 AMG. Today on the E63 behind me, we're going to be covering how to do your engine oil replacement. This is going to be applicable to all vehicles equipped with an M156 motor. Today we're using our liquid moly kit that comes with 9 liters of 5W40. It also comes with a Hengst oil filter, as well as a new drain plug and crush washer. All these parts are available on FCPEuro.com, of course. We recommend you do this service every 5,000 miles, and with our lifetime replacement guarantee backing up all these products, that just got a little bit easier. Before we get started on this DIY, let's take a look at some of the tools we're going to need for this job. And now for tools. For this job, we need a couple of basic tools, starting with a 32mm socket. We have a 13mm socket, as well as an 8mm socket. We have a small pick. I have a 3/8 drive ratchet. Today, I'm using a 1/2" drive ratchet for my 32mm socket. I have a torque wrench, and I have a funnel. We're using our CTA European no-spill funnel. And of course, like any other fluid job, you're going to need a catch pan. Today, we're going to be working on our lift. However, this is a job you can easily do at home with a pair of jack stands and a floor jack. Now we know what we're working with. Let's go ahead and get started on this DIY. All right, to get started, we're under the hood of the W211. We're going to start by removing our beauty cover. Now, depending on the age of the vehicle, these can get pretty sensitive. They tend to crack here. So what I recommend is popping them off on the ends first by the air boxes and then the centerpiece. You can reach underneath and feel the tab. Push it up. Same thing on the other side. Push them up. Then lift up on the front. Sometimes these clip by accident. Here are your 6 clips. So what I'm reaching underneath, I'm popping out the outboard ones, and then the rest will follow along. Go ahead and set this to the side. Next on the list, we're going to go ahead and crack open our filter housing cap so that we can release the vacuum, so when we drain the oil, everything flows out easier. I like to put a couple shop towels around my area in case there's any spillage. A 32mm socket will get that off. I have a 32 on a 1/2" drive ratchet. And for now, I'm just going to take this filter off, set this whole assembly to the side, let the old oil drain out of the cap, and we'll just leave this open for now. Next, I'm going to go ahead and remove the oil fill cap just to release the last bit of vacuum in the system. If you're worried about debris getting inside, if you're working outside in the elements, you can leave the cap resting on top. We're in the shop today. We're not worried too much about that, so I'm going to set this off to the side. At this point, we're going to go ahead and get underneath the W211 and show you how to drain out the oil from underneath. All right, under the W211, we're going to work on removing the splash shield so we can access the drain plug on our oil pan. We have 4 8mm bolts to remove. Let's go ahead and get those off. We have 2 up front. And we have 2 in the back. Now we can pull this cover off and set it to the side. With that cover removed, we have 4 more 8mm bolts to remove on this rear cover so we can access the actual drain plug, which is hidden right here. We have 1 on either corner and then 2 center ones. Go ahead and set this to the side. And with that removed, now we have access to our 13mm drain plug. So let's grab our socket, our catch pan, and we'll go ahead and drain the oil. All right, I got my catch pan situated. We'll go ahead and break this free with our 13mm socket on our ratchet. Beautiful. We'll give that all the time it needs to drain. Once it's fully drained, we'll come back and continue on this DIY. All right, now that our oil is done dripping, we can go ahead and wipe up the area and install our new drain plug and crush washer. You always want to start these by hand, just to play it safe. You don't want to cross thread this. All right, With that on, we're going to go ahead and grab our 13mm socket and our torque wrench and torque it down to 30 Newton meters, or 22 foot-pounds. Beautiful. At this point, it's just going to be a matter of reinstalling our shields. So I'm going to grab our 8mm hardware and our 2 plastic shields, slap those back on, and then I'll meet you back up top. All right, with all those situated, let's head back up top and continue on this DIY. All right, back up top on the engine bay side of things, we're gonna go ahead and start by replacing our oil filter. So remember, we set that to the side earlier so our cap could drain. To get the old oil filter out, you simply pull it off, separate it from the cap. It's got a couple teeth that click into the housing. And take our shop towel from earlier. Just give this a little wipe down inside. Using a small pick, I'm going to take off the old seal around the cap. You want to make sure you replace this every time you do your oil change. Our kit does include a new one, so go ahead and install that. You want to make sure you seat it in the channel down below, not in the threaded section of things and not past the channel, so you have a proper seal. You can use some of the oil on the threads or dip your finger into some of the fresh oil. But you want to make sure this O-ring is lubricated before you install it back into the block. Now we can take our new filter. As you can see, it has the same clips on it as the old one did to clip into our housing. Pretty straightforward. Now we can go ahead and just start this by hand. And then using a 32mm socket, we're going to go ahead and torque it down to 25 Newton meters. So you can see it didn't take a lot. It's basically hand tight. You can almost get away just using your hand. Now we're going to grab our funnel. And as I mentioned earlier, we're using our CTA European no spill funnel. We're going to lock that in. And then we'll start pouring our 9 liters of 5W40 liquid moly. And now we can install our oil fill cap. And last but not least, we have our beauty cover. So let's grab that. And just like I mentioned earlier, you want to line up these tabs on the receiving end. 2 go in your air box, 1 goes in your power steering reservoir, and the other one goes on a bracket that holds on your power steering reservoir to the block. Boom, baby. With that done, let's hop inside the E63 and cover how to reset your service A, which is the oil change we just did today. That way your cluster is accurate and ready for the next time you got to do an oil change. So I'll catch you inside in just a moment. I'm going to start by putting your key in the ignition and turning it onto accessory mode. From there, you want to go up to the cluster. You have a button located on the left-hand side. Go ahead and hit that 3 times consecutively. Now we're in the menu on the AMG. We have a couple buttons on the steering wheel that we're going to want to use to navigate those. We have our arrows on our left-hand side, our plus and minus on the right-hand side, and then our menu scroll buttons on the bottom left. Using the arrow key, you want to hit that until you see the next screen under service data. Using the minus button, we're going to scroll down to confirmation. Under confirmation, you're going to want to use the right menu shuffle button on the steering wheel to select. Then hit that 1 more time for full service. And with that, we have reset our service interval. Overall, a pretty straightforward DIY today, an easy one, but definitely a good one to know. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments on what we did today, leave them in the comment box below. And if you like this DIY and you want to see more like them, please consider subscribing. We make new ones all the time. As always, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.